Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. Again, I am Kaylee Batesman, the Content Director at SheCanCode, and today we are discussing mentoring at Checkatrade, empowering growth and support. I'm lucky enough to have two ladies from Checkatrade with me today, and it's always a pleasure to chat with the ladies who are behind Checkatrade because I've got the amazing Jess and Rossana with me to bring their unique perspectives to the table of both mentor and mentee. Welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us on Spilling the Tea.
Hiya.
Hi.
It's a pleasure to have you both. Can we kick off with a bit of background from each of you, please, just to set the scene for our ladies? Jess, shall we start with you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm an engineering manager, obviously working at Checkatrade. I've been at Checkatrade for about 2 years now. Before I was an engineering manager, I was a software engineer for about 5-6 years or so, and I've always been in tech. How I got into tech, so I took quite a traditional route of doing computer science in university, came out of computer science, did like a few work placements in tech and IT support roles until I sort of fell into engineering. Realized I enjoyed doing that so much. And then I kind of went on to preferring the management side of things and leading the teams and leading the projects. And then that's when I decided to go into engineering management.
Amazing. Yeah, we always love it on here when people have a mixture of backgrounds as well. Some plan to go into tech, some fall into tech, and you worked your way up all the way into management. I have a curiosity about you going into management. Did you reach that point where you were kind of like, you reached that point in your career where you go, I either have to look after people or I'm going to remain siloed? Or what was that like for you when you kind of realized that?
You know, when I was a software engineer, I was always, I guess, like a more outgoing person within the teams I was in, always kind of trying to lead more of the technical refinements or come up with some funky ways of, having the teams do stuff or have more fun with projects. So I thought, oh, let me look into what are the next potential steps? Like, what's more of a people-facing role where I actually get to speak to people every day and do the stuff that I really like doing. So that's when I kind of looked more into engineering management and what that entailed. And then when I kind of found, okay, well, there's a lot of different types of engineering management roles, and I realized I did want to be more people focused. That's when I guess I started actually actively looking for engineering management roles to try and find the right dynamic for me. And then when I found that one, that's when I fully went into it thinking, you know what, I'll see how it goes for 6 months or so. And then if I don't like it, I'll switch back to software engineering. But yeah, I sort of tried out engineering management and then sort of decided, great, I'm so happy I went into it. And that was just, what it was meant to be, really. And I've enjoyed it ever since and haven't looked back.
Yeah. Oh, love that. Haven't looked back. That's nice to hear. Rosanna herself, what about you? Can you tell us a little bit about you and your background?
Yeah, so I'm an associate software engineer, and I joined Checkatrade a year ago, and I'm a career switcher. Before I was a project manager in advertising, and I decided that I wanted something more challenging, and yeah, here I am.
Boy, and are you what made you switch careers? Was there somebody that inspired you at the time, or did you see somebody else doing it, or you just thought, you know what, I just want a new challenge?
So I want a new challenge, and my job was a little bit repetitive, and I knew that being a software engineer was very challenging.
Certainly went into the right career there.
I just decided to go for it.
Yeah, and like Jess, haven't looked back. Incredible. Ladies, we have a lot to cover today. We're going to talk about mentoring, and we're lucky enough to have a mentor and a mentee, so we can hear both perspectives. Can we kick off our discussion with a walkthrough on how the mentoring scheme at Checkatrade is structured and what makes it unique compared to other mentoring programs?
We actually have quite a few different mentoring things going on at Checkatrade. So we have our main Checkatrade mentoring scheme. So that's a wider company mentoring scheme. And I think the really cool thing about this, so I've been part of this for probably the past year or so now, is you actually connect with other individuals who aren't necessarily in your department. So I think, yeah, the last mentee I had who was outside of my apartment, she was in like a sort of sales, more of a sales role, but had similar aspirations, as in was in her role, you know, getting to that top level and wanted to progress more into management. And I think it was just so nice to have that connection, that outside perspective of, you know, not necessarily someone in engineering, but someone who you can help with their career path overall. And it just shows, like, you know, no matter what department you're in, what role you're doing, you can still relate to one another and build those relationships. And sometimes when you don't exactly understand someone's role and so much on what they do day to day, it helps you build more of a connection, because you're really getting to know that person on a different level, understanding their day-to-day, understanding what they do, where they want to be, without actually having much background context on that at all. And then I guess the other side of mentoring at Checkatrade would be I guess more of the women in tech mentoring. So we've got quite a good women in tech forum at Checkatrade. We have a lot of community meetups and things like that. And from that, you kind of get to meet a lot of new faces, people who joined the company who you may not necessarily meet day to day, because obviously engineering is such a wide, you know, big organization, and there's so many people joining engineering every day, to be honest. So by having those forums, you kind of get to meet new faces and meet new people, and people kind of reach out to each other because it's such a trusted forum. So a lot of my mentees from the women in tech side have just been people who have, you know, met through the forum and then reached out to me and said, you know, hey, do you have some time to mentor me for a bit, or chat to me, or whatever it is. So yeah, I think it's just the openness of having different ways to join mentoring programs, and not just having one type of mentoring scheme, but having like different types of mentoring schemes. I think that's what makes it really unique, to be honest.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you get to speak with other ladies in other departments, because you must get so much back from that as well yourself.
Yeah.
Not just the mentee, but you must learn so much about other departments, how they're doing things, and how those ladies are thinking.
Yeah, it can teach you so
leadership.
much. Yeah, because obviously people in engineering work completely different to people in sales, and sometimes you can just learn different skills from each other, because, you know, like, yeah, just having that dynamic is really good from learning from each other.
Yeah, definitely. Rossana, would you agree with that, that having all of the different types of ways that Checkatrade works in terms of mentoring, that's great, that you can just kind of pick and choose where you find a mentor as well, and if that's not working out as well, I suppose that's also another thing we find with our own mentoring program. Sometimes you match and then you go, actually that's not for me, but you can find people in lots of different avenues by the sounds of it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm actually very lucky because I'm part of 2 different types of mentoring, and which are very like important as an associate. The first one is like technical mentoring within the team. So I'm lucky to have weekly meetings to improve my technical skills, or pairing, which is very important as well. We can ask questions to each other, and the mentor can understand your level in order to fill the gaps. But me as a mentee, I'm able to learn new concepts or improve them. And the second one is a more like high-level mentoring, which is personal growth mentoring with Jess. In my previous career, I never had a mentor, so this is absolutely new to me. And thanks to Jess, I'm able now to like track my goals.
Actually, being able to track your goals, how useful, because if you come out the other side of a mentoring partnership and you haven't tracked your goals, let alone achieved your goals, you're going to come out feeling like, I don't want to do that again, or actually that wasn't worth my while. And to be able to do that and to actually see progress that's being made, instead of just a relationship where you know, might meet and have a cup of coffee every now and then, to be actually to track the impact that you're both having on each other, really useful.
Yes, it is. It is. Now I can definitely look back, like Jess said, and say, oh, wow, this is a big improvement.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people out there, they really want to do it and they really want to get involved in some way. And there's always that awkwardness as to how much time will it take up? Will I actually find it useful? And how do I move forward and do this again with somebody else? Or what improvements could I make if I did this with somebody else? So having some kind of structure or different types of programs as well that you can choose from that kind of suit you and what you want to do. Not everything is solved with just one internal program. We always say on this podcast, not everything is solved with one Women in Tech Slack group. It's a lot more than just a Slack group. There's so many layers to it. How did you both approach becoming a mentor mentee? How did that unfold? How did you approach that? Jess, do you want to tell us a bit about how you approach becoming a mentor?
So I think becoming a mentor has always been something really, really important to me. Growing up through my tech career myself, I've always been lucky to have really great mentors who, like Rossana, have been there for different things. So I've had technical mentors who have helped me progress my technical skills and helped me get into the position I was in software engineering, where I felt confident and where I felt like, I was happy and I was progressing and really doing good in my role. And then I've had more of the high level mentors, which really helped with my personal growth, my confidence and career growth. And then as I sort of got into engineering management, that's when I decided that I wanted to get more into mentoring, because it's actually, people don't realize, but it's so different. Even as a line manager, it's very different from having just direct reports in your team. Just because you're managing people in your team, yes, you are mentoring them as well, but actually getting into a proper mentor-mentee scheme is just something so different. So yeah, as I kind of mentioned before, I kind of had two ways of meeting mentees. So I got into it, I guess the easiest way was joining the Checkatrade mentoring scheme, where, anyone can work with anyone in a different department, maybe on similar roles, and you actually get specifically matched to someone. So it's a great kind of matchmaking process again. Maybe people who have similar aspirations to be a higher level or moving at a similar pace to you, or whatever it is, you get kind of matched on those criterias and different traits and stuff like that. And then the other side of obviously meeting a mentee, so how I met Rossana and, maybe some others in the women in tech community, was just via forum, like having such a good women in tech community, having such a good forum where everyone in that forum sort of trusts each other, feels that they can reach out to one another, and everyone is always very open and, actually offers their help out. So I feel like anyone in that forum could go to anyone at all who they see, as someone who could help them or mentor them, and just ask them and feel comfortable to say, hey, do you want to be my mentor? And I think that's how, again, a lot of people have reached out to their mentors as well. And again, just putting yourself out there to say, I'm happy to be a mentor. If anyone wants to talk to me, chat to me, then just be open about it and put it out there that you are happy to be a mentor and you have time for people.
That's incredible, because I know obviously working with SheCanCode that Checkatrade does so much around women in tech and their women in tech group and forum, to the fact that it's not an overnight fix, and it's not, you can't come up with a women in tech forum that is that open and supportive towards each other overnight. And it's something that has really taken time to bring together, that now that you are able to reach out to each other and support each other in that way, and to help each other mentor and mentee. It's just something that, as I said, doesn't happen overnight, but is a real testament to what has happened within that forum, and how that people try to reach out to people on LinkedIn and say, hey, will you be my mentor? And a lot of the times you will get a lot of rejections and a lot of people ghosting you because nobody wants to step forward and help, or they don't know, again, like time limits or what it actually means for them. But to have a platform where people can do that within Checkatrade must be so useful for the employees within there. Rossana, yourself, how did you approach becoming a mentee? Did you just reach out? What happened there? Did you feel like you could reach out, I suppose, is the first question. How welcome did you feel?
I just reached out to Jess. From the beginning, I saw Jess as a role model due to her confidence. And I was sure that she started as an associate, and I had a similar experience to mine. And I also knew Jess through the different podcasts that she has done, including the one that SheCanCode. So I was like, why not? Just let's reach out and let's see.
Yes, she's the one at Checkatrade that you want to nail down and say, hey, could you please support me with something? Yeah, we love having Jess on as a guest on this podcast. Can I ask you a little bit about the relationship between yourselves as well, just to put you on the spot? But how would you describe the dynamic between you as mentor and mentee? What do you think makes this relationship successful?
Yeah, so I think we again, because we have such similar experiences, we were able to just align straight away and build such a good and close relationship. I obviously started off as an associate engineer as well. And a lot of the times when Rossana and I talk about experiences, we often relate back to, even experiences that I've had and how I felt and how I can relate to how Rossana feels or kind of the experience she's going through. And I think that's really important in a mentor-mentee relationship, is to have that trust and to have that understanding. So, you're actually talking to someone who can guide you through situations and career growth and, actually understand exactly what you're going through. So I think that has really, really helped us build such a successful relationship, just that relating to one another. And I think the second part of that is also not being in the same team. So although we're both in engineering, the fact we are in completely different teams, again, helps us both have that outside perspective. I don't really know anything that goes on in Rossana's team aside from what she tells me. So there's no sort of bias in that relationship or anything like that. So again, you've got a really good connection built on trust and learning about, each other's experiences and what they're doing day to day, and not just being with them every single day, also having that set time that you put apart for specific mentoring and mentee sessions.
That's such an important point, that you are on different teams as well, and how helpful that is, because instead of having that, you're involved in the day-to-day of knowing what each other's teams actually do, and if a challenge comes up, you're almost thinking, well, I kind of know what's going on there. You're almost above everything and can just see the challenge for what it is, instead of sometimes the dynamic of a team, and you kind of get very bogged down sometimes in day to day, especially if there's challenges going on. And to have somebody that is up above all of that and can just see it from a bird's eye view, to kind of give you some clarity and some direction, is so valuable to have that on different teams, and to be able to empathize with Rossana and her experience as well, and what she might be feeling. Rossana, how would you describe the dynamic between you both? Obviously, you knew Jess was going to be a great mentor, and that's why you went for her. But what do you think makes the relationship successful between you both?
So like Jess mentioned, we had similar experiences, and I understood straight away that she was the right person, that she could understand me and advise me at the same time. And we connected straight away. And I think it is really important to have that kind of open relationship, like Jess said, where you can trust each other. And I feel like that when we have our meetings, I can just say everything, and she has just the right advice every time.
So it's like a therapy session as well.
Exactly.
Somebody that you can trust and say, this is happening. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with it, but that's it, just super important to have somebody in the workplace that you can trust and go to for advice, and to know that as well, that you can vent if you need to, and then figure out how you're going to move forward with challenges and your own goals as well, your own career goals, how you're going to reach that. Jess, you mentioned a little bit about Rossana, and obviously being able to see things from her perspective, and because you came from a similar route, and being able to connect with her own experiences. But can you share a little bit about your journey and experience with mentoring at Checkatrade, and what motivated you in the first place to become a mentor?
Yeah, so I think in Checkatrade, as I kind of mentioned, we have a lot of new joiners. We have a lot of people coming to the business of different levels. And one of my biggest motivations when I actually joined Checkatrade back 2 years ago was hiring in more associates. So at that time, I kind of ran a program to get some more associates into Checkatrade, which we successfully did. And that really made me want to, you know, get into mentoring and make sure we had some sort of good mentors in place, because, you know, that's such an important part of letting in junior talent, is you can't just let people, you know, sit there by themselves and work out for themselves. The only way you're going to make successful engineers, or, you know, any position, is by having good mentors. So it was always really important to me to make sure that I'm helping with that as well. I think as well, you know, over my career, I've had many good experiences and also many struggles as well. So going through, you know, being an associate myself, moving up through mid-level, moving up into more of a management role, I faced so many struggles that honestly, if I didn't have a mentor, I don't know what I would have done, or how I would have even managed to like get out of some of those situations, or progress, or continue building my confidence. So, you know, it's something very close to my heart that, you know, I want to be able to also help people who are going through the same kind of process, or, you know, trying to work their way up, have that motivation, maybe don't know quite how to get there, or just, you know, need that little bit of guidance to be there to support them, just how I was supported by my mentors back in the day as well.
Yeah, you're so right, especially when you're trying to move through the ranks, or challenges are coming up at work day to day, and just for somebody else to tell you, you know, that's okay, or I've been through that, and you're instead of you, that imposter syndrome kicks in, and you're starting to go, I'm going to get found out, people are going to know, and they're going to know that I can't do this. Everybody's having that feeling as they move through their career. So to have somebody else that has been through it is really valuable, to have that, and to want to give back, and know that as well, that other people are feeling the same thing that you were feeling. Is brilliant to be able to do that. What about you on that front? Because you must get so much back from being a mentor as well. So how has mentoring, Rossana, impacted your own professional growth? And have there been any unexpected lessons or insights that you've gained from the experience? And anything that kind of shocked you?
Yeah, do you know, honestly, I think it teaches you so much, like having a mentee, especially with Rossana. You know, she's such a great mentee because she's always so open. She really trusts me, and she's really honest. And it's taught me how much to, you know, how to be able to listen better and give advice better, be constructive as well. I think one of the biggest things, or the biggest struggles that a lot of people find as managers as well, is how to give like constructive feedback, and, you know, like constructive advice as well. So just by having that kind of bond, that relationship of, again, someone who's not necessarily in my team, but someone who really trusts me and seeks my advice, it has really taught me to, you know, how to give advice in better ways, and, you know, trial different methods of giving feedback and giving advice, and writing goals, and, you know, helping with that career progression. So yeah, it's honestly taught me so much, and it's all thanks, honestly, Rossana being such a open and honest mentee as well, because that's what really helps me learn and helps me be able to give, you know, the best advice that I can give as well.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, such good advice as well with constructive feedback, and when you deliver that. We had a discussion on here recently about that, the timing of feedback sometimes. It can make such a difference as a manager, and how to deliver it and when to deliver it is quite a skill. So being able to practice that as well and get used to that is really valuable as a mentor, and taking that from your relationship with your mentee. Rossana, I want to ask you a little bit about your experience as well as a mentee under Jess's guidance. How has it shaped your career at Checkatrade?
Yes, so I would like to go back a little bit to when I asked Jess to be my mentor, and Jess sent me an email with a SWOT analysis, and I was like, what's this? So in this SWOT analysis, we talked about the short-term and long-term goals, mentee expectations, and what I'm looking about, like, what am I looking to get out of this mentoring, and any current goals or like motivations that I have. And therefore, after we had this long conversation, we decided which ones were like the goals that I was working towards, and highlighting as well the achievements. Resilience is one of those that I have improved a lot, but is a work in progress. And at the same time, thanks to the technical mentor and mentors, my technical skills have progressed a lot in 1 year time. So yeah, it is a fantastic experience.
Yeah. Yeah, and your experience with Jess as well, as you said, must really help with your building that resilience throughout your career. We do all have those when challenges come up, we all have those moments where we're like, oh, should I go? And that's a feeling that I think a lot of us have had, where we've gone, should I just leave this job? Perhaps it's not for me. And it's such a shame when people have that when challenges arise. And it's good companies know how to, you know, work people through those feelings, and to say, you know, it's just natural to have those feelings at work, and here's how we're going to work through this challenge. And like you said, having some structure as well, so you feel like you're really achieving something in your relationship with Jess, and working through that. Instead of just a chat and a coffee every now and then, you really do feel like she's helping you to progress, to reach your next level.
Yeah.
On that note, what are some of the most valuable lessons or skills that you've learned from Jess?
So as I mentioned before, confidence, which comes from experience, but at the same time, you have to work on it. And motivation, Jess told me from the beginning, always look back at your improvements instead of just saying, I don't know this concept. And always celebrate your achievements, which is very important. Sometimes we just don't look at those achievements, but yeah, it's getting much better.
Yeah, that's such good advice, Jess. Brilliant advice. Always celebrate your achievements, because you're right. We do focus on like we've said throughout this, the challenges that happen and the things that come up and how we get through them, and forget to look back and think, you know what, this is how we move through things, and this is how we grew as a company, and how I grew professionally as well throughout the year. And I've always felt as well that if you're at the wrong company and you get to the end of the year and you feel like you haven't actually achieved anything, and you look back and you think, actually, I just done a lot of meetings this year and didn't really progress and move through anything, and I don't feel like I actually achieved anything, then you know you're at the wrong company, and you want to be somewhere where you're really progressing and feeling like you're really making an impact as a company, as well as professionally as well. And being in a mentor-mentee relationship like yours means, you know, like you said, you can look back and say, actually, look at all the things that we did, and let's make sure that we celebrate those along the way, because it just is that, as you said, that motivation, it takes you into next year as well, into thinking, yeah, we did a really great job this year, and this is how we did it, and then motivated for the next year and all the things that you will achieve with the help of Jess along the way. Ladies, we're nearly out of time, and I wanted to ask you one quick question to both of you. What advice would you give to someone considering becoming a mentor or a mentee at Checkatrade?
I think the best advice I can say is just go for it. I don't think there's anything you wouldn't gain out of becoming a mentee or becoming a mentor. Like I said, you just learn so many invaluable skills from each other, from both sides. It's only going to improve you in terms of your career and your progression, and as well as that, give you someone to talk to and have guidance from, or give guidance to. And, you know, it's someone who's also not your line manager. So having someone there who you can talk to about anything and share experience, again, whether you're the mentor or the mentee, it's just so useful having that open dynamic with someone you can trust, who's, again, not in your team, who can guide you, you know, to different paths and things you wouldn't usually get from your line manager, or, you know, necessarily talk about with your direct reports either. So yeah, just go for it, because there's so many amazing benefits from it.
It sounds like as well, within the Women in Tech forum at Checkatrade, it's open enough as well that if you find you match with somebody and then it's not quite working, or your schedules don't quite work, it sounds like it's very open, that you can just say, hey, actually, I know somebody else that might be able to help you, or to open the floor to find the right match. It sounds very supportive in that sense. It's almost not, you know, kind of, oh gosh, that didn't work out, you know, it's like, how can somebody else help you?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Rossana, yourself, any advice for somebody else that's considering becoming a mentee at Checkatrade?
Well, I will say that it's definitely like a valuable experience, and I would recommend it to everyone, especially to those people who are starting their career in tech. Mentors will definitely shape your career path. So you have nothing to lose, just go for it.
Yeah, especially as a career switcher as well. You know, that must have been when you landed at Checkatrade, you must have thought, oh, thank goodness, you know, it's not just you trying to learn your way through, but there's a lot of support there for you, because sometimes with career switchers, it's a strange experience in the sense that you are experienced in the workplace, but you're not necessarily experienced in tech. So finding some support along the way to help you, you must have got there and thought, oh, thank goodness, because I kind of know all about the workplace and, you know, the politics that comes with falling into work for the first time. But working through the ranks and a career in tech, at least there's been, you know, support along the way from lots of different channels as well.
Yes, it is.
Ladies, I could keep talking to you about mentoring all day. It is something that is very close to our heart at SheCanCode, because we have our own mentoring program as well, and it was started with exactly the same reasons as to why you have your mentoring programs, to be able to match people who want to help you and support each other. So it's been an absolute pleasure to hear from both of you today about being a mentor and a mentee. And thank you so much for joining us, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For everybody listening, as always, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again next time.